welcome to our now today is the 31st of October, which means it is Halloween! Yay! I've never celebrated Halloween in my life, but now from tomorrow, okay, from tomorrow it will be what? November, or Movember. Movember. Could you have a guess? I wonder if you could. I think I've seen it in Japanese as well. But could you have a guess what Movember is?
I have no idea.
No idea. All right. So Movember. See if we can get some pictures here. What do you see in the pictures? What's this called? Mustache. You got bored. Alright. So Movember. The Mo means mustache. I'm not sure if it's only Australia, it might be other countries, but definitely in Australia, a Mo is a mustache. And the Movember movement, well, it's a foundation, originally a foundation or a charity. And I believe it started in Australia. And people will grow, men will grow a mustache during November. So that I will probably do it for some fun. I will shave my beard and just grow a mustache. And if I remember correctly, I would say it would be, you see the blue ribbon there is about prostate cancer. You know what prostate is? Yeah. Alright. So it is for breast cancer is usually a pink thing, so prostate cancer we have the blue. And so to raise awareness, right, and to raise money for prostate cancer, the Movember Foundation, is it called Movember Foundation? I don't know if that's the name. Oh, we call Movember, but the actual name of the charity Movember Foundation. An annual event involving the growing of mustaches during the month of November to raise awareness of men's health issues such as prostate cancer. So not only prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and men's suicide, which is also, I suppose, prevalent in Japan as well. So the Movember Foundation, it's small, but the Movember Foundation runs the Movember charity event. How's that? Movember.com. Okay. So that will be from tomorrow. I don't know if you'll see much in Japan, but a lot of people I know will grow the mustache and they will post it on social media, on Facebook. You know, November 1st, here's my mustache, and maybe every day or every week, oh, it's getting a bit bigger, or oh, I can't grow a mustache, look, it's awful. You know. So that's Movember. Alright. But today, of course, is Halloween. And we're going to look at, I think that one has got answers on it. The legend of Stingy Jack. I've got a longer one. Do you think this is long? Because next week we'll do that. Alright, so the legend of Stingy Jack. Stingy Jack. Do you know what the word stingy means? We will read this together in a second, but no one's heard the word stingy before? So stingy, don't like using money, don't like paying money. Okay, so the legend of Stingy Jack. Right, demons. Alright, so this is about, what do you think it's about? Apart from Stingy Jack, I mean. Yeah, what is that called? It is a pumpkin, and when we carve the face in it, what does it become? Jack-o'-lantern. Good. All right. Did you remember that, or does it say it on the text? Okay. So the jack-o'-lantern. So this is about Halloween. It's about the jack-o'-lantern, the history of the jack-o'-lantern, and perhaps the legend of Stingy Jack. So maybe the jack-o'-lantern is named after someone called Stingy Jack. Now we've got 3 paragraphs. The first one's a bit long. Do we have a volunteer to read the long paragraph? Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
People have been making jack-o'-lanterns at Halloween for centuries. The capital of originated from an Irish myth about a man named Stingy Jack. According to the story, Stingy Jack invited the devil to have a drink with him. True to his name, Stingy Jack didn't want to pay for his drink, so he convinced the devil to turn himself into a coin that Jack could use to buy their drink. Once the devil did so, Jack decided to keep the money and put it into his pocket next to a silver cross, which prevented the devil from changing back into his original form. Jack eventually freed the devil under the condition that he would earn further Jack for 1 year, and that should Jack die, he wouldn't crime his soul. The next year, Jack again tricked the devil into climbing into a tree to pick up piece of food. While he was up in the tree, Jack carved the sign of the cross into the tree, but so that the devil couldn't come down until the devil promised Jack not to bother him for 10 more years.
Okay. So, how did we go? Did we understand some of that? Some of it? Alright, let me get this up on the screen. with that thing. So people have been making jack-o'-lanterns at Halloween for centuries. So this is a practice, a custom that has been going on for a long time. The practice originated from an Irish myth about a man named Stingy Jack. Okay, so which country did this start in? Ireland. Yeah. Okay. So Irish, is this too small? If I make it bigger, you can look at this sheet here. So Irish, it's Ireland. Right? An Irish myth. What is a myth? Can you give me an example of a Japanese myth?
The original time to have the turtle, and then the turtle took him to the under the sea, which is that is the illusion. And yeah, they welcome to the original turtle, and then he spent few times over there, and when he goes back, they gave him one box, but they said not to open it. But when he returns to his world, he opened it, and then he became very old person.
I remember learning about that when I was studying in Canada.
Yeah.
At the end of the story, I remember.
Yeah.
Right, so a myth. So it is a fake story that is meant to explain why things are as they are now. Right? So a myth is similar to a legend, but a legend might be true. But a myth is fake, it is a made-up story. So the practice is a custom, things that people do, so not about being shoe, but doing shoe. Originate. Originate means? Yeah. Good. So if we get rid of that, we have origin. Origin is the start of something. So to originate means to begin or start. Usually originate like. So usually a practice, a custom, this originates. The source of something. So we won't say that the class originates at 9 o'clock. But we could say that if this class got really big and we had more classes and different locations, we could say that it originated in the other one. Right? Where the whole thing started, but it's become big. So a man named Stingy Jack, so Stingy's sketchy. According to the story, Stingy Jack invited the devil to have a drink with him. Right? When you all true to his name, you've seen that phrase, heard that phrase, true to his name? Well, what do you think it might mean? True to his name, Stingy Jack didn't want to pay for his drink. True to his name, Stingy Jack didn't want to pay for his drink. What does true to his name mean?
They are lying, cheating.
Just of his name.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, you're right there. So his name is Stingy Jack. So true, just like that, right? Living up to his name, right? Stingy Jack didn't want to pay for his drink, so he convinced the devil to turn himself into a coin that Jack could use to buy their drinks. He convinced the devil. Please convince.
Persuade.
Yeah, to persuade. Okay. Good. To persuade. Right, so to I just had another word. To make someone do something. No, that's not very good. To so to persuade the devil to turn himself into a coin to the Jack that Jack could use to buy their drinks. Once the devil did so once he turned himself into a coin, Jack decided to keep the money and put it into his pocket next to a silver cross. Right? So he didn't use it to pay for his drink, he put it in his pocket instead. And in his pocket was a silver cross, which prevented the devil from changing back into his original form. So what does the cross do?
Stop sending him the original.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
So prevent, right, to stop something from happening. Right? And original form. Original is like originate. So he can't go back to his devil shape. Jack eventually freed the devil under the condition that he would not bother Jack for 1 year, and that should Jack die, he would not claim his soul. So Jack eventually freed the devil. When did he do it? Straight away? A bit later? Which one? After some time, at the end, so eventually, by the end of it, after some time, he freed the devil. Under the condition, that he would not bother Jack for 1 year. So there was a condition. A condition is, this is really hard. Defining words is hard. Even if you know what it means, explaining it is hard. So how will you explain the word condition?
Contract.
Yeah, similar. Yes. So a contract will usually have conditions. It's like a rule, but it's this, you have to do that, or this one happens. Right? So if he does not bother Jack for 1 year, then under the condition, so he freed. Should Jack die, he would not claim his soul. Okay, so he promised to start with. He promised that he would not bother Jack for 1 year. So he's not going to come back and annoy Jack for 1 year. And should Jack die, so if Jack dies, he would not claim his soul. Right? The devil would not come and take his soul. Right? So this use of should really means if. Right? may or may not have seen that before, but this really means if Jack lies, right, he will not claim his soul. So he promised to do this, therefore Jack said, okay, I will free you. So that's the condition. The next year, Jack again tricked the devil into climbing into a tree to pick a piece of fruit. The devil seems very stupid, doesn't he? While he was up in the tree, Jack carved a sign of the cross into the tree's bark so that the devil could not come down, until the devil promised Jack not to bother him for 10 more years. Last time it was 1, now it's 10 years. Alright? So went up to pick a piece of fruit, and while he's up there, Jack carves a cross into the tree's bark. Right? The skin of the tree, I suppose. So the devil could not come down. And he's not going to bother him for 10 years. He made another promise. Okay. Are we okay with the first paragraph? Alright. Next paragraph. Ishihara-san.
Soon after, Jack died.
What are you laughing for? Me?
After 10 years,
Well, we don't know.
soon after Jack died. As the legend goes, God would not allow such an unsavory
Yes.
figure into heaven. The devil, set by the trick Jack had played on him, and keeping his word not to claim his soul, would not allow Jack into hell. He sent Jack off into the dark night, with only a burning coal to light his way. Jack put the coal into a carved-out turnip, and has been roaming the earth with ever since.
So there's probably a word missing there. I would say roaming the earth with it. Ever since, I would say.
Roaming the earth with it ever since. The Irish began to refer to this ghostly figure as Jack O' Lantern, and then simply Jack O' Lantern.
Okay. Thank you. So, soon after Jack died. So, it's not 10 years later, it's earlier than that, sooner than that. As the legend goes, so this is a common phrase you may or may not have seen, as the legend goes, as the story goes. Right? So according to the story, according to the legend says that God would not allow such an unsavory figure into heaven. Right? God would not allow this sort of person into heaven. What sort of person is an unsavory person? Unsavory figure. Is it a good person or a bad person? Bad person. Alright. So, unsavory. Savoury is, I'm not sure what the original use is, but it's very commonly used for food. Savoury is sort of like an opposite of sweet sometimes. But it's to do with the taste. So something, I suppose, that tastes nice, not sweet, but something else that tastes nice, like bread or something, is savoury. So an unsavoury thing is something that is not nice. Right? So in this case, maybe he has something wrong with his morals, his way of thinking, he is bad. So God would not allow that sort of person into heaven. The devil, upset by the trick Jack had played on him, and keeping his word not to claim his soul, would not allow Jack into hell. So God didn't allow Jack into heaven, the devil didn't allow Jack into hell, Jack was stuck in the middle, but he's dead. Right? So the devil is still upset, But he kept his promise. Right? I will not claim your soul. He sent Jack off into the dark night. Off you go, into the dark night, with only a burning coal to light his way. What is a coal? Yeah. Okay. So just one burning coal. He had to carry that, I suppose. Jack put the coal into a carved out turnip and has been roaming the earth with it ever since. A carved out turnip. So a turnip is Is it kabu? No, I'm not sure of myself. So I'll look. So answer unkind, mean. Well, not necessarily mean, but we'll look at the definition below later. So turnip. Let's just confirm that we know what a turnip is. Why is it not connected now? No, it's not. Anyway, turnip, we said kabu.
My daughter, Japanese elementary school, first grade, they are big turnip of stove.
Oh, right.
大きなカブ。
Ah, good, okay. Very good, alright. So I know what a turnip is, so that can be quite big. I think of small turnips, but they can actually be quite big. So he carved it out, right? Opened it up with a knife and put in the coal. And he has been roaming the earth ever since. To roam the earth. What is to roam the earth? Is he staying in one place? Is he moving around? He's moving around. Okay. So he's sort of moving. Walking around without a destination. Right? That's hard to read, sorry about that. But he's not going anywhere particular, he's just continuing to move. Right? To roam the earth. He roams the earth ever since. The Irish, continuing here, the Irish began to refer to this ghostly figure as Jack of the Lantern, and then simply Jack the Lantern. So this O with the apostrophe is very common, especially in Ireland. The O, people have surnames, O'Loughlin, O, I can't think of anything else now, but it's common in Irish surnames, last names to have O something. It means of, usually the father's name. So it might be Otakashi, right? Or Okionori, right? So your son would be someone Okionori, right? Of Kionori, right? So that's how it used to be many centuries ago. And then the surname stuck to the family, so everyone has the same name. But originally it meant of the father. And the S in my name, James Edwards, the S has the same meaning. Because in English, S means of. Right? So Edward's son of Edward. And then eventually the family kept the name. Van Gogh, what's his name? The painter, Van Gogh? Painter? Goho. Okay, So the fan means the same thing. Of, so of someone named Goch. Okay, so the Irish started to call him Jack of the Lantern, and then it got short to Jack o' Lantern. Alright, last paragraph, Erie.
In Ireland and Scotland, people began to make their own versions of Jack's lanterns by carving scary faces into turnips or potatoes and placing them into windows or near doors to frighten away stingy Jack and other wandering evil spirits. In England, large beads are used. Immigrants from these countries brought the jack-o'-lantern tradition with them when they came to the United States. They soon found that pumpkins, a fruit native to America, make perfect jack-o'-lanterns.
Okay, so this last bit is very interesting. So in Ireland and Scotland, people began to make their own versions of Jack's lanterns by carving scary faces into turnips or potatoes and placing them into windows or near doors to frighten away stingy Jack and other wandering evil spirits. Okay, so we now know we didn't just start with a pumpkin, we started with turnips and also potatoes, because in Ireland and Scotland there's a lot of potatoes. And they carved the scary face to scare off stingy Jack. They don't want this evil, unsavoury ghost coming to visit them, and other evil spirits as well. In England, large beets, okay, well I call it beetroot, the red, sort of purple red thing. Same in Japanese. Akapabu. Okay, so beet or beetroot, I would call beetroot. Right. Beetroot are used. Immigrants from these countries brought the jack-o'-lantern tradition with them when they came to the United States. They soon found that pumpkins, a fruit native to America, make perfect jack-o'-lanterns. So this is where we now have pumpkins as the most common, prevalent example of a jack-o'-lantern. Right? I can't remember the last time I've seen potatoes or turnips or beetroots being used. So the immigrants from these countries, so Ireland and Scotland, people from Ireland and Scotland came to America, they took the tradition with them, and instead of turnips and potatoes, pumpkins they thought were really good, so they used the pumpkins to make the jack-o'-lanterns. Okay, good. So, beneath the text, are there any more questions about what we've read? Words you're not sure about, grammar, or parts of the story that you just don't quite understand?
Is pumpkin categorized fruit?
It's a vegetable.
Why do you say a fruit in America?
Oh, well, there you go. Maybe it is a fruit. It's like tomato. Tomato's a fruit, you see, not a vegetable.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Tomato.
And a strawberry is not a berry.
Strawberry is vegetable.
Right, there you go. So there's these things that we, because it's sort of sweet and, berry, you think it's a fruit. So you're right, maybe a pumpkin is a fruit. I don't. Even though I just read that, it didn't stick in my head. So it must be a fruit. So there's a few things that don't quite match with our concept of these things. Depends on what the actual definitions are. So there you go, a fruit. I would say vegetable, but it must be a fruit. So a fruit native to America. Yeah. Any other questions or comments?
It's very difficult to carving potato to make
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes. That's probably why they stopped doing that. And there's the pumpkin.
Are turnips big in Ireland or Scotland?
I will. Kia was just telling me about some turnips. Where did you see the big ones?
Big one is funny story.
Right. Oh, right.
Walking up.
みんなで聞くんですよね。ああ、そっか。
Can they put hole in
Mm.
turnip?
Well, we have to carve out the middle, take out the middle. Same with the pumpkin, you have to take it all out. I want to show you, probably not that interesting, but it reminded me of a TV show, Connecting. Maybe it's not going to work.
This tonic is easier than shaving potato.
Well, it's not going to help.
It's not.
I don't know.
Oh, it's connecting. Okay.
Well, anyway,
重要なことじゃないけど This is not so important,
Yeah.
but I just cool into
Scary face.
well, looks like a mummy.
What?
可愛くない
結構大きいですね。
ですねパンに
Very bigger than Japanese one.
実際これぐらいですよね。
大きいのもあるという
すごい。
本当に
Very big one.
Wow, look at that. That's weird, isn't it?
They are big in Ireland.
It can hold and cold time. Cold.
I'm not sure why that's not giving anything. Oh well. I'm moving on. So let's look at the true or false statements. Okay, so jack-o'-lanterns first appeared in Ireland. True or false? Okay, true. So this is a practice, so something that a lot of people did. Practice originated from an Irish myth about Stingy Jack. So this is a story in Ireland, and they started. The Irish and the Scottish began to make their own versions. So the Scottish as well. So yeah, true. A little bit. Number 2, Jack didn't want to pay for drinks because he was mean with money. Yeah. Good. Mean with money. It sounds a little bit odd to me to say he was mean with money, but I suppose they're trying to not use the word stingy. So that's okay. So I'll say yes, that's true. He didn't pay for drinks because he was stingy, means he doesn't like using money, especially for other people. Number 3, Jack had a silver cross in his pocket to prevent the devil from taking his soul. Is it? Why is it false?
Because he didn't want
Okay, so the cross in his pocket was to prevent the devil from turning back into his original form. So he was turned into a coin, and to stop him turning back into the devil, that's what the cross was for. So false. The devil had to promise not to bother Jack for 10 years before he could come down from the tree. No, is that one true? I think you said true. Yeah. Do other people think true? Is it false? Because there were two promises. One was 1 year, one was 10 years. Okay. Do people say true? What do you think here? So, here we go. About 10 years was it? So if we look back next year, tricked him into climbing into a tree, carved across, devil could not come down until the devil promised not to bother him for 10 years. True. Just wanted to double check. So that is true. Number 5, when he died, Jack wasn't allowed into heaven because he was a bad person. True. Okay. God will not allow such an unsavory figure into heaven. Okay. Number 6, the devil gave Jack a candle to light his way in the dark. What did he give him? Coal. Right. So nowadays we might put a candle in the jack-o'-lantern, but he had a coal. The original jack-o'-lanterns were carved from pumpkins. Right. What were they carved from? Turnips. Okay, and then after that, potatoes. So false. People placed them near doors to keep evil spirits away. True. Alright, so they placed them into windows and near doors to frighten away stingy Jack and other wandering evil spirits. So true. And last one, the jack-o'-lantern tradition was introduced to England by Native Americans. False. Right, it's the opposite. Yeah. Well, not quite the opposite. The jack-o'-lantern tradition was introduced to America by who? Right. Okay. So they, Irish and Scotland immigrants, right? People who moved to another country, moved to America and took the tradition with them, and that's when they started using pumpkins. So false. Alright, and then B down the bottom, match the words on the left to their definitions on the right. I will give you a minute or two to do that by yourself. Okay, how are we going? So, originate. Let's go with originate. What is the definition of originate? Eric. D, to appear for the first time. Yes, good. Convince, Ishihara-san. Yes, good. To persuade someone to do something. Eventually, here. Yes, right, in the end. Claim, Eric. Yes, to say that something belongs to you, to claim something. You can also claim something as being true. And you can make a claim, right, sure, but you can claim something as your own as well. Carve. Which one, sorry? G, yes, to write something on a surface by cutting into it. Alright, the unsavory. Here. Okay, not considered morally acceptable. Okay. Roam. Yes, to go to different places without having a particular purpose or plan. And last one, immigrant. Yes, a person who comes to a country to live there. Okay, fantastic. Now, unfortunately, I can't connect to the internet. But it's not loading. Which means we may not be able to do the quizzes. Right, let's restart the computer. Now, last week I had a few questions that we spoke about, and I need to try and find where they are here. Alright, let's start with what was there last time? Okay. Alright, so I can't find at the moment the slides I had last week that had lots of questions on them. So to start with, while I tried to connect to the internet, I want you to think about first question that I can remember was there. Who is, or maybe it wasn't there. Oh, anyway, who is someone who you respect? Someone you look up to. Who is that person and why? Now have a think for a minute, and then I'll get each of you to answer. Alright, so I have cake to do yet, so we can use that. But first let's answer. Who is someone whom you respect, someone you look up to? Ishihara-san.
I have many people to look up, but these days I respect my son. He's studying very hard, and when I was junior high school student, I didn't study that much. And also he's doing club activity.
Athletics,
Athletic.
track and field.
Track and field. He joins the track and field club. He's running every day. After he comes home, he goes outside running. He's very serious. Serious. So he's my son, but I kind of respect him very much.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's really lovely to hear. Very good. Okay, thank you. You're still thinking, is he?
Japanese talent, he says, Ijun Hikaru. You know, very fat guy. Big and fat.
Yesterday we saw the CEO in downtown, there's a fat guy.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yes.
I love his radio program.
Ah.
I hear in junior high school and high school. He knows so various things or variety things. And many guests came his radio program to talk to guests with.
He's sometimes on the TV quiz show.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, that's right. He's often on that.
Yeah,
He's a very intelligent person.
yeah.
Very interesting. But he don't graduate high school. He only graduated junior high school and become Japanese rakugo.
Oh, okay, yes.
He
Yeah.
learned rakugo.
Oh, wow.
But he's very interested, intelligent, and very funny guy.
Oh, cool.
I respect him as an inventor of the word junior.
I saw him one time when I was working in Tokyo. He came and he was really big. Yeah.
He's bigger than James said.
Is he tall?
Very tall and very fast.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Ijun Hikaru.
Hikaru.
Hikaru Ijun.
Ijui Hikaru. Oh, that's good. Alright. Thank you. Eri.
I think actually we talked about it yesterday, I guess, James. Do you remember?
That's right, yes.
Yeah, when I was junior high school and I get into the high school exam, there was an interview and the interviewer asked me who's the respect. Who are you respect the person?
Who do you respect?
Who do you
Well,
respect?
who is a person? Well, who do you
Who do
respect?
you respect? And I said it's my dad because he always hardworking, like he works every day until very late. But when he comes home, he never said anything bad about his company or many people. So I never heard of he was saying something bad. Yeah, so yeah, but not anymore. Not anymore. I've been hearing something from him recently. But yeah, when I was junior high school, I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, when interviewer asked me, and I just thought about it. Oh, yeah, I never heard of he said something bad, and yeah, it's sort of it's good. It's respectful, I think. Yeah.
That's very good.
He just laughs. That's all. I said practice too. Me too. My father was always drinking and saying bad things. Yeah.
そんなお父さんがいる。
でも多分その頃お父さんが夜帰ってくるの遅かったのであんまり会ってなかった。だからしゃべる機会もあんまりなかった。お母さんは別に絶対しました。
All right. So I thought we'd try quizzes, just to see what it's like, and yes, sorry. And you can tell me what do you think, whether you like it. It's a bit different from Kahoot. It is a quiz, but the questions. I think also if you don't want to make an account, I think you can go straight to this website, and then you can put the code in, and you don't need an account. So put this code in. Okay. Look. Now we have no music. The music's not playing. Shame. So this is different from Kahoot because the question comes up on your screen. Okay. Up here you will see the leaderboard. You will see the points, who is winning, right? And the questions are in a different order for each person, right? So you can do it, well, if you answer quickly, it's better, but you can take your time, right? So everyone is going with different questions. Well, same questions, different order. Okay, so this is Halloween. There's some simple questions. Some for Halloween, some are a picture, what is this? It's just vocabulary. So something simple to start, so you can tell me, do you like quizzes? And then if you do, then sometimes we'll do quizzes instead of Kahoot. And if you don't, then we'll only do Kahoot. Alright. Let's make some noise now. Oh, there's some music. Oh, here we got one wrong. So some of these things we learned today, some we didn't. Right? Oop. has jumped up. Ah.
Yeah, I didn't know either. No.
適当に。何それ。
Okay. So, what we can do with quizzes is we can have a look at what each person answered for each question. Right? So you can see that Eric made lots of mistakes. And we can look back at each question individually. Right? And so we can find the questions that people got wrong. For example, here is one. So this is apple bobbing. Right? Apple bob. So the bob is the possible. So you're bobbing for apples. It's not a very common word, but apple bobbing is what this is called.
What is it? Are you trying to catch apple with
You are
knife?
trying to catch an apple in your mouth without using your hands. And of course it's filled with water, you see? So the apple bobs up and down in the water.
Is it Halloween event? Halloween things to do?
Well, I've never done it in my life.
Okay.
But then again, Halloween isn't very, well, I shouldn't say it's not big in Australia because that's just my perspective. People do, dress up and do things, but definitely nothing like, the US. Right? It's massive, right? It's not anywhere near that big in Australia, but some people might do it. Kids obviously get excited, so they might do this. What does the ghost say? Everyone got this one wrong. What did people do in order to be recognised by, in order not to be recognised by the spirits? What did you answer?
I think more a sock on their head. Yeah. And a white one, like sometimes.
White one?
I don't know.
Are you thinking of?
Maybe the ghost? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So people dressed up and wore masks, and that's what people do now on Halloween. They dress up. Yeah, that's interesting. Pumpkin. That's fun. Alright. What returns to the earthly world at Halloween? What comes back to earth at Halloween? Evil spirits. So, not like a wand where your power comes back. Right, evil spirits. That's why people dress up in costumes so that the evil spirits don't recognize them. Yeah. And there are similar festivals around the world. Day of the Dead and Festival of the Dead, where they're telling, and they wear masks. Right? You might see in Spain and South America and okay, what is this? A broomstick. Okay, a witch is the woman who rides it. What is this? It is death, also known as what? The something. The grim. Not like the Grimm brothers, but the same meaning. Grim, right? Dark, evil, right? The Grim Reaper. Reaper. To reap is like to harvest, right? To take what is, not necessarily what's yours maybe, but to harvest. So he is harvesting, he is reaping people's souls, right? He is taking, so he is grim and he reaps their souls. He is the Grim Reaper, or also just death. And one last one. Is that a fairy?
I confused witch and wizard, so yeah.
What is the difference between witch and wizard?
Human who use
Stick?
magic.
Ah, okay, so like Harry Potter. So witch and wizard, generally in this respect, generally I would say, is whether it's male or female.
Okay.
So the witch is female. A wizard is male. Sometimes a wizard, usually a witch is more likely to be associated with evil, but you can have a good witch. Wizard doesn't necessarily have the same association with evil, but both of them just mean someone who uses magic. And of course, centuries ago, it was always evil. Magic people believed in magic; they thought it was real, and so that was evil. So people who use magic were evil. So therefore, a witch is considered evil. And if we think in America, I don't know about other countries, maybe in Japan, but in America, they would burn women who they thought were a witch, or they would push them off a cliff. And if they flew and survived, then they know that they're a witch. But if they fall and drown, then they're innocent, but they're dead. Right? So it's not very fair. So that's what happens. So witch is associated with evil, but it is male or female. So this is a witch. Okay. So that's quizzes. So different from Kahoot, they both have their advantage. Maybe you think one of them is more fun. But I would like to do both sometimes in class. Maybe on a topic like Halloween, or vocabulary or grammar or something. So we have to finish, so maybe next time you can tell me what you think. And next week, Next area will be presenting. We'll see how we go. We didn't do much talking today, so I'll try to do some more conversation next time. Alright. There you go. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Any comments? May not. It's okay. Just want to double check. Good. Alright. Good. Thank you.